Hello, welcome to McBoss Capital. My name is Michael Chu. This is a stock market video update for the week ending May 29, 2026. Basically, we end the month of May, and we did finish the week for Nasdaq Composite here, up 2.39% for the week. And you can see this rally is really strong. Only one down week, and even that week was only down like very little here. And we continue the rally here this week. On the daily chart, we have bounced from this green 10-day line here, 10-day moving average line, and we have bounced off it very strong. And we found support here again here Wednesday, Thursday as it went sideways instead of coming down. And Thursday and Friday we continue to make new highs here. S&P 500 here on the weekly chart is showing many weeks of rally now. You can see all the blue range bars here. This week it closed again at new high at 1.43% higher than last week. On the daily chart here, we also see that it bounced off that 3-day pullback here, and we climb back above the 10-day, the green line here. And again, we find support here Wednesday, Tuesday and Wednesday, and coming back to new high here on Friday, then Thursday as well. Here's QQQE direction for Nasdaq 100 equal weight index ETF here, also making a new high this week, up 2.29%. On the daily chart, it is up 0.8% for the week. You can see some tests here on Wednesday and Thursday. Found support. This is a really nice run here as well. Here is Invesco S&P 500 equal weight ETF, symbol RSP, also making new high this week, 1.08%. For the week. On the daily chart, again, very similar. We see some pullback here on Wednesday and Thursday, and then we bounce from the Thursday low here and close higher and making new high on both Thursday and Friday. So the market breadth is still pretty healthy in this sense. Next, we have Dow Jones Industrial here, and it was up for the week, also up 0.9%. So also making new high. So not as strong as S&P and Nasdaq, but able to still make new high. On the daily chart here, we also test on Thursday here the 10-day moving average here, and we succeeded by coming back up and close positive on Thursday. And Friday we basically gap up just a tiny bit and close really strong for the week here, up 0.72%. Here's the Russell 2000 index here, also closing new high with 1.75% for the week. It did close closer to near the lower range of the bar, but overall it's still pretty positive at this moment. On the daily chart, we can see it came up on Tuesday and then also bounced back to new high on Thursday. And Friday we didn't make a new high, closing in the middle range, but it didn't close at the bottom as well, so that is still considered pretty good. And so right now we're just sitting very comfortably above the 10-day line here while it's trying to catch up as well. Here's the CapForce IBD 50 ETF. This is the top 50 stocks here that it track, and it's up 1.94% for the week. It didn't close at the top of the range. It didn't make new high this week as well, but we are bouncing back from the previous week. Going to daily chart, you can see it also tried to test the short-term moving averages here, the 10-day line, the green line, and the pink line here, the 21-day moving average. It did bounce off it on Friday. However, it couldn't close positive, so it was down 0.3% on Friday. But overall, we're trying to find support and maybe hope for a bounce after. Here's the CBOE 10-year Treasury note yield. It is falling this week, so that also bought well for the general market. It is now at 4.45% coming off the really high here. Here we have UUP, the Invesco US dollar index, also dropping this week. Test now is near the 21-day line here as well. Here's the oil price, continue to drop this week as we hear about the news with Iran potential agreement at some point. So it has been falling and now it is below the red line, so that is definitely concerning for this index at this moment. So the US oil price is coming down, not getting too much support as it make new lows here. Next we have gold. Gold trying to bounce back Thursday. It did make a new low here on Wednesday, bounce back on Thursday and Friday. Friday, however, it closed at the bottom of the range near the 10-day line, so definitely not what you want to see as it bounced back and then reversed that way. We have Silver Trust here, SLV, also having issue trying to get back above the 10-day. It's just constantly finding resistance there. Copper is also trying to hold on here near the 10-day line. It's so far it's holding up, but it hasn't really moved much at all. Here's Bitcoin also coming down. Now it is below the red line 50 days, so that is not good. We have climbed up from the lows here very nicely, and then now we are on a downtrend, and also trading below all the short-term moving average. So that is quite negative. So for next week, we do have the ADP National Employment Report on Wednesday, weekly job claims on Thursday, and then obviously the big US job report on Friday. And we also have the Fed Beige Book out on Wednesday, and then the Institute for Supply Management Manufacturing PMI is also due on Monday. For next week, we also have earnings coming out from Broadcom, AVGO, Ciena, CrowdStrike, Palo Alto, Oregon, and Credo here. Next, we're looking at the VanEck Semiconductor ETF here. This is up 3.9%. It gapped up earlier this week, and then we're able to close up to new high. So it did close near the halfway point of the range here, so that's not bad at all. Again, very strong move here. On the daily chart, you see the SMH here also trying to move up, but more like going sideways at this moment, as the green line is catching up as well. So Friday it was down very slightly, but not too much. Dell came up with strong earnings and guidance here, looking at very sharp move here, up 32% on Friday. You can see it was already running before this earnings here earlier this week, and last week you can see those big moves here. And then obviously we just gap up very significantly after the earnings report on Friday here. Nvidia ran into some trouble this week. You can see on Friday we tried to come back up because the market was doing okay, but Nvidia just couldn't do it and reverse all the way to the lows here. This is very negative, so we need to watch out for this. The downtrend line is still very much intact here. Next, we look at TSM here. This one also bouncing a little bit, making new high on Tuesday here. No, sorry, that was Wednesday. And then Thursday, it just didn't move much. And then Friday, it did close back at the bottom of the range, but it's still above the green line here. So doesn't look too bad. But it would be nicer if it has closed on Friday at the higher range. Next, we have AMD. This one continued to climb on Tuesday, make new high, and then on Thursday once again, and Friday it did come back down a little bit before bouncing off and just closing at 0.3% below Thursday's close. Here's ARM Holdings also bouncing really nice here. You can see it's pretty steep curve right here. A steep slope, I mean, and you can see Thursday, Friday making new high, close up 5% on Friday. Where Broadcom announcing earnings in few days here, it also came out on Friday, which is very surprising after consolidating recently. So that looks pretty good. Looks like it's setting up as well right before the earnings, closing up 4.73% on Friday. Intel also did something similar to what Nvidia did. It reversed from a high in the morning here, looks like, and came down pretty hard and closed below the 10-day, down 5%. So that is quite negative. RS rating obviously coming down pretty strong as well. This is IGV, iShares Expanded Software Sector ETF, and this is up very significant this week, up 8.1% for the week. This is also showing strength where it has run up for 7 weeks in a row now. And this way it clears the black line, which is the 40-week moving average. So this is a very strong move. You can see how decisive it just came above that, showing its strength. And also on the daily chart, it is a little bit extended because it came above the upper channel line of this recent rally here. So we might expect some consolidation soon because it is quite extended, but sometimes it can be overextended as well. So while the 10 days is going to catch up. And one of the reason it went up is Microsoft here breaking out of this recent consolidation. Very nice space here, 5.4% on Friday, We're on high volume, so that is very good breakout right there. Google, however, is closing lower on Friday, down 2.5%, hitting the pink line here, 21-day moving average. So this one is negative. You can see the RS rating actually been coming down pretty severely as well. So that is negative at this moment. Then we have Amazon here trying to hold above the 10-day line here. It give back some on Friday, minus 1.2%. It's not too bad. It's still, again, sitting comfortably above the green line. We do see a bottom channel line forming here as well, so perhaps this could be a continuous uptrend here, but it's not a fast pace. You can see the RS rating is just kind of moving sideways right now. Meta also bounced back above the short-term moving average here, so that was good on Wednesday. Thursday, it made a new intraday high, and then Friday, it did give back some, but it closed at the upper range, and so at the end, it was only down 0.4%. Apple here continued to show strong leadership as it has continued to climb at a very steady pace here, making new highs week after week. And on Friday, they did have a new intraday high, but it closed down just 0.1%. Again, this one sitting above the green line here very comfortably. Next, we have Tesla also bouncing back this week, but it did reverse Friday very early in the morning and did close at the middle range, so it's down 1.4%. So if that is support here on the short-term moving average and we can bounce from here and break out, that will be pretty good sign. Next, we have Netflix. It's still in a very severe downtrend here. As you can see, it's under all the short-term moving average, and it is not far from hitting another low here, 85.10. Right now it's 86, around 86. To summarize for the week, we did have a very good weight allocation for IBDs to 80 to 100%, and we see multiple highs continue to make by Nasdaq S&P. And we see strong accumulation across the board here, outpacing distribution quite a bit here. So for example, 409 accumulated versus 253 stocks accumulated, distributed, and then 77 industry group versus 58. So there's still pretty high on the distribution side, but overall it's still healthy market because we have more positives. And then on the sector side, we see technology leading right now very strongly. Surprisingly, retail has come up here, 41 stocks. This is a number of stocks accumulated minus the distributed. So net 41, that's pretty good. Net 35 is industrial area. Then we have health and commodity financial are still negatives. In my next video, I'm going to talk about my growth stocks list. Please follow, and I'll see you then. Take care. Thank you.